New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has called for the Indian Point nuclear facility.
Andrew Cuomo and others are trying to shut down a nuclear power plant, Indian Point, which sits about 30 miles north of New York City on the Hudson.
What has happened at Indian Point?
The United States has over 100 nuclear power plants. The one that's most proximal to New York City is at Buchanan, New York, called the Indian Point Energy Center.
The two reactors that are still going at Indian Point are both operating with expired licenses. We're in the 9th year of fighting that relicensing.
One of the unique aspects of Indian Point is that it is within 50 miles of 20 million people.
It's just dangerous and ill-advised to have a nuclear power plant so close to a major population center.
If there was a big radiological release from Indian Point, that could happen from an accident, could happen from a fire, could happen from an attack, could happen from an earthquake.
At the time that Indian Point was being built, they discovered that it was sitting on the Ramapo Fault. They built the plant anyway.
If we had to evacuate this area, there is no plan to evacuate the people who live here.
It is a dangerous technology, and it takes 600 people normally, 1,000 people during fueling outages, procedures. Well, it's not easy to operate one. The current governor doesn't like this. He will not give us an environmental permit. You need environmental permits from the state. So right now it's in court.
It's the largest user of Hudson River water.
The radioactive form of water will go any place that regular water goes.
At the end of the fuel cycle, you have these very high level as well as medium and low level radioactive isotopes. So we're talking about one of the deadliest elements on Earth that don't exist naturally. They just come from nuclear power, and it will be deadly for 240,000 years.
We would take fuel out of the reactor, put it in what's called a spent fuel pool. It's a pool. When you have fuel in a spent fuel pool, it doesn't have the same pedigree of safety that you have in the reactor. We had a redesign that's called the racks. Put them closer together with these fuel elements in. So if you go to Indian Point, you would see there's a slab with these concrete bunkers with lead cylinders inside that have this spent fuel elements, and that's the way we're going to keep operating.
The Spectra Energy Corporation is building a new 42-inch diameter, high-pressure natural gas, fracked natural gas pipeline right next to Indian Point.
It's 100 feet to the control room. It's 1,600 feet to the reactors. You're using the wrong modeling. You're not coordinating properly with Entergy. You're not coordinating properly with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. They did a cursory, superficial, dismissive, disrespectful review of the risk of damage from this pipeline when they needed to do the exact opposite.
The new proposed pipeline, with its just rather incredible proximity to nuclear power plant, is maybe one of the worst policy decisions around energy issues that I've seen in a very long time.
We don't need this thing. We don't want to take the risk. We know we don't get a lot of energy.
I think that something needs to happen there. And even if they decommission the Entergy Indian Point plant, it's going to be hot for a long time.
To say that there's no danger in this really seems to befuddle the imagination.